Thwaites Dark Mild.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Box and Booze Reviews. I've got a can of this stuff, this Champion Dark Mild from Thwaites. Now Thwaites are a Lancashire brewery. They do some pretty good stuff, I have to admit. The Champion Dark Mild that they do is quite widely available. I first tried this back in, fucking hell, it's over 10 years ago now. A mate brought it to a party I was at, and they were doing this for less than £1 a can, and he brought a couple of cans. Well, no, he brought more than a few. He had a big fucking carrier bag full of them, and I tried one, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And I remember thinking, I have to get this again. And I remember seeing it in some, it was like a pound shop, I think it was, and they had a load of them, and I bought them then. And again, it was really good. And I wasn't alone in thinking how good it was, because this one is twice winner of the Champion Beer of Britain award, and you know, that's a good indicator of a good beer. And of course Thwaites are from Lancashire, arch rivals to the People's Republic of Yorkshire. They've been at war since, I think it was the Stone Age, or was it the Iron Age? Can't remember. There was arguing over something. Can't remember what it was. Who's the most northern, or something like that. Anyway, who knows. I really like this. I really like the brewery. So let's stop talking absolute shit and let's get on with it. Before I do, I'll just explain what mild is. Mild is a traditional old British beer that, or English I'd say, more than British. It's peculiar to British. It's peculiar to English sort of styles of beer. It's a dark beer, top fermented dark beer that's got like a sweet, bitter sweet, if you can imagine that, and usually quite low ABV, hence the word mild. And it is a session beer, whether you like it or not. You know, I think it is. Anyway, let's stop guessing and let's see what this is. Right, it's 440ml can. It is from the Thwaites Brewery, based up there in Lancashire. They call it Champion Dark Mild. Nice can, nice black can. I'm sure there's a few paddies out there who've mistaken that for Guinness when they've had a few and gone into a supermarket and picked these up. And they would have been suitably disgusted, because this is quite far away from stout. It's a 440ml can, as I say, 3.2% in the volume. So it is quite low ABV. You can sink a lot of these. So let's get it open and let's see what's going on. On the nose, out of the can. Not a great deal. There is some faint earthy spiciness to it, and some faint malt, some faint sort of caramel or toffee malt, not quite sure which. Very, very subtle. Let's get it in the glass, see if I can get some more out of it. Now if you looked at this, you could be mistaken for thinking this was a porter or a stout, but it's not. It doesn't taste anything like that at all. There's a fair bit of carbonation in that. And I have to say that does not translate into the mouthfeel, because I do remember this being nice and smooth. Now one thing my mate did, he was drinking this out of the can, and that is one thing you should not do Personally, it's a personal thing with me, but I rarely drink beer out of a can or out of a bottle now. I like to get the carbonation flowing. I like to get the head flowing. And I remember a Belgian fella years ago. He was telling me, you know, I used to take the piss out of the Belgians because they used to put massive heads on their lagers, and he said, but that's half the, you know, you get more of a flavour through the head. This was when I was younger. I was like, yeah, fucking rubbish. You know, you're just ripping people off because you're not putting more beer in. But it's true. A head on a beer does go a long way to the flavour. So let's see what's on the nose. Yeah, and this was what I was wary of. That has got a really, really metallic taste to it, and I thought they'd got over that. You know, that getting beer out of cans and having that metallic flavour onto it. Now I remember this as being quite good. I'm probably going to be disappointed now. Yeah, it's just reeks of metallic tin can. That's all I'm getting. Please prove me wrong. I mean, I am going back a bit now as to when I tried this before. It is a very, very dark chestnut colour, almost like a Guinness. It hasn't got the smooth head of a Guinness. That is a foamy, off-white head. But there you go. It's at the right temperature. That is just chilled. That is the temperature you should be drinking it from. Let's get it down the hatch. And it isn't bad. Wow, that's very malty. It's quite nice. Mouthfeel is nice and smooth, but it's lacking body. 3.2% beer, so you know they've got session drinkers in mind with this. It's got a nice nutty, malty flavour to it. There is some bitterness on that, but it's more sweeter than bitter. It's like a sweet, nutty caramel flavour to it. Bit of caramel malt on the back end, but the body of it is weak and quite watery, which is slightly off-putting. But if you wanted something easy drinking, you're not a fan of your lagers or, you know, your 5% Stellas, or you've got got a long evening's drinking or a long day's drinking, you could do a hell of a lot worse than this. This is not bad at all. The aroma though is caramel mixed with metal. It's really off-putting. You don't get that on the flavour, I have to say. You do not get that metallic taste on the flavour that you do on the aroma. I mean, that really is like, and now it's sort of caramel, touch of toffee on there, and metal. So I'm getting sort of mixed messages from this. It's quite nice. It's super smooth. It's got really nice mouthfeel to it, as a mild should do. Hence the name mild. And that's what it was. It was an easy drinking, low ABV, top fermented ale that a lot a lot of English workers, you know, factory workers would drink, sometimes at lunchtime, sometimes after work. They didn't want to go home roaring drunk. A few cans of mild. Very popular up north. Not so much down in the south. I do remember it when I worked, when I was on the building trade. Then I was odd carrying. I remember there was do you remember the Firkin pubs? There was a Firkin pub on a job I was on in I think it's Highbury or Islington. Before Islington was ponsified, it was like, believe me, back in the 80s when I was on the building going, the areas, the gentrified areas you see now in London, they were shit heaps. Most of them were bomb sites. They hadn't cleared up the bomb damage from the war. Even in the 80s, that was 40 years later. That shows how skint we were. And I remember I was working with a Geordie fella, real nice bloke. And you find out with a lot of Geordies, they're very down to earth until they get a few beers in them and they start telling you how many people they can bash up and all that. But he was all right. He was a good fella. Ginger. He was massive, but he drank mild like it was going out of fashion. And I remember he walked into the pub and he tried to get me to try some mild, and I had half a pint of it and I thought it was disgusting, and I went back onto the lager because I was a lager drinking in. But yeah, he says one day you'll be drinking this, and he wasn't. That's not a Geordie accent. I'm not even going to attempt to do a Geordie accent. I sound like a fucking Irishman. Anyway, I'm rambling. This is not a bad beer. It's cheap as well. I can get this for £1 in some places, so you know you can't go wrong. It's quite nice, easy drinking. Wouldn't be my go-to. It's one of them. It's a tactical, but I call them tactical beers. You know, if you got to be somewhere, you don't want to get too pissed up. You want a low ABV drink, or you don't want to make an arse of yourself because you're going to be drinking all day. I'll get a few cans of these. If I'm going to a party where I've got to be on my best behaviour, you know, this will be perfect. You know, if you don't want to make a fucking absolute bollock of yourself, you know, pulling your trousers down and doing all sorts, like, get this. But if you want to do that, fill your boots, get some special brew. Anyway, I'm talking bollocks. What's the verdict? Well, I tried this before and I quite liked it when I tried it first. It was a real shock to me how easy drinking and how sweet it was, and that hasn't changed. What I don't remember from it is the metallic aroma. Luckily, that doesn't translate into the flavour. It's 3.2%, so you could fucking drink this. You know, if you're used to drinking, you can drink this till the cows come home. You'll be pissing more than you're being pissed, and it's good. It is nice. I do like this. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Simply for the price, because it's cheap. You can pick this up for £1. For the flavour, it's nice. The aroma, it's got that metallic aroma, and the body is slightly sort of watery, but that is the nature of mild. I prefer a beer with a bit more body to it, and that hasn't got it. But it's got everything else. It's got some nice flavours going, real nice mouthfeel. And do you know what? I'd recommend it, because if you're in some of these bargain places that you get in the United Kingdom, I can't remember the pound shops selling them, but there's like, was it Home Bargains and shit like that? I don't know whether they get them up north. But you can pick the 4-pack up of these for like £3 something. You can't go wrong with it. It's lovely. And you won't get too pissed. Your missus won't have a go at you. And the world will be right. And remember, beer is working class champagne.